Hey, Greg, Joe Chats on Tap Sportsnet. Curious what you think made this such a difficult game for you guys, particularly in the first half. It just didn't seem like the passes were being executed. And is that something you'd maybe attribute to rust after an extended break or something else that made this team not really crisp tonight?
I think that we talked to the guys in the group after the game, and didn't like the start to the game at all. They came in flying, and we didn't match the intensity of the first opening stage of the game, and it cost us. They got the goal, and then they played really compact. I think we knew what the team was, very aggressive team, very combative team, and they executed their game plan perfectly. And credit to them, for really, I think, dominating us in most duels tonight.
Alex Calabrese, MLSsoccer.com. Coach, I'm wondering how much you'd attribute the lack of chances in the final third to decision-making on the ball and how much you think that impacted the result.
We were close. I mean, we were close to making that final pass, getting that final chance, and it just unfortunately didn't come today. And even the ones that we had, we got a little bit unlucky with the finish. I think you guys will see when you watch the tape back, the clear handball by Glesnes on Guti's shot, which was very similar to the play that actually gave the penalty for them. Surprising it wasn't called. Be interested to see what VAR says about that. But other than that, I think it was a little bit just lacking the final touch.
Tim Hotze, Red 97. So 42 fouls between the two teams, 5 yellow cards for the Philadelphia Union, 1 on your end. What did you think about the team's ability to sort of like try to meet Philadelphia with those physical battles and compete in that part of the game?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, that's what we thought was going to be key to the game. And, I was pretty critical of the team at halftime for not embracing that side of it. I mean, that's Philly's bread and butter. They do that really well. I think the coach has them prepared for that. And, we didn't match that.
Jim Alexander, Real Talker. Coach, you've been very ambitious about adding sort of big-name players in a sense with your pursuit of Neymar. Now that this one's sort of in the books, can you speak on the pursuit of Kevin De Bruyne? Did you guys feel like you were close with him or sort of going back into that? And will you still have that same mindset of chasing, big players if they're out there?
Yeah, I think it's the right fit. And we identified Kevin as a guy who would fit in perfectly with what we're doing. And we had a lot of conversations back and forth for a good time. And in the end, it wasn't his time to come to Major League Soccer. I think it was really pleasant conversations. I think we represented ourselves well in the talks. And in the end, just didn't happen. He wanted to continue to play Champions League football. And, it's hard to compete with that. So you have the Serie A winners going after you, and that it was difficult for us to compete. But having said that, I think we made a compelling argument, and he was, in my opinion, very close to to coming over.
Alex Campbell from CHGO. Greg, how is trying to regroup and move forward after a game like this, where it's about what didn't happen, versus a game like the Nashville game earlier in the season where it's a lopsided score and that's a flashy thing, when it's a game like tonight that things just didn't click and you guys just couldn't execute the way you wanted to? How is it different the way you've got to move into, what's now a very short week before the next game?
These are the ups and downs of the season. And, it's perfectly normal. We don't like it, but every team has to go through journeys. And this journey includes, a tough stretch for us where we lost 2 home games in a row and didn't score a goal. And that's our reality, and for us, I talked to some of the players about, now it's about sticking together. Now it's about regrouping. I think thankfully we, 3 days later, we get to play again. And that's where the hunger and the desire comes in, that you get to get back at it a couple days later.
Ernesto González, Unión Deportiva Extra. Greg, Gutierrez sometimes have the opportunity to shot, but maybe it's not lefty, but or righty, but nobody shot. Too many passes in the big area, but nobody shot. What do you talk with the players when they have the opportunity and not just passes the ball, but nobody shot?
Yeah, it was a strange, I think, lack of killer instinct. Normally, we're pretty good at creating dangerous goal scoring opportunities, and today there was a few, but it wasn't enough, especially for a home game. So it's something we're going to talk to group about. Something we should we should look at, because we want to be scoring more goals, especially at home.
Coach Mike Napolitano, WRMN, you talked about going into Saturday's game against Charlotte. They're sitting right above you in the table, and they look very similar in their last 5 to this Fire team. What's the strategy heading into that one to try to get a win at home, other than, of course, you mentioned the scoring?
I think it will be a good opportunity for a response from the group. It's obviously when you're not happy with the game, you get an opportunity a couple of days later to show a response, and that's the most important thing. We want to win, but to me, it's really important that we focus on this process and really seeing the players respond from a tough loss tonight.